YouTube, it's Brian Phillips. We're gonna try a second thoughts with the F-15 Eagle. This thing has seen the inside of that tree over there and the ground underneath. So we're gonna see how this goes. Second thoughts video is something we like to bring to you when we we like to bring these second thoughts videos when we're kind of caught up for a minute and there's beautiful weather and I just want to fly. This plane is something really special and fun. Sounds great, actually. We're flying it today on a 4S 30C Gen 2 Smart Pack. As you can see, it's just as ballsy as it needs to be. Going on the inside this time, fast. Do a little roll here. There's a bird up there. Did you see it? That was weird.
I'm paying attention to the airplane.
No, I know you are. I'm not, evidently. That's how easy it is to fly. I swear it was like something in the sky. It's so weird.
I did not see it.
Okay. Neither did our audience.
Nope, not.
So for those of you who think this would be a great first EDF, you know, to be honest, it's not. It's a pretty easy flying plane. It looks like it's really fast because it is. But the thing is, it's agile and you can get yourself out of trouble to a certain extent. I mean, you saw me on the Maiden crash it, but that was not the plane's fault, that was my fault. But look how fast that's going, guys. Keep that in mind when you're decision making. Okay, I'm gonna come around and try to do a touch and go under the power lines.
Okay.
So obviously there's no flaps on this thing, so slowing down is definitely not its strong suit. 1 minute remaining, the British lady says. Sorry, camera crew, did I just block you?
Only for like 1/8 of a second.
You must be used to English standard, 1/8 of a second.
Yep.
Out of the throttle. Coming into the killing zone here. There we go. Slow flight. Let's show you what slow flight looks like on this plane, which is, I mean, there's a little bit elevator. I would say that the elevator is a little bit starved for slow flight. There's no rudders, so you got to be careful. You can't push the nose over. I still move my rudder stick like I should be able to use the rudder. And don't. The British lady is counting down over me, I'm sorry. There is actually a rudder on this plane, so don't forget, a steerable nose gear does technically produce some yaw effect. It's very limited, but it's some, okay? Don't forget that. So let's show you, oh look, there's the yaw effect. Did you guys see how I did a stall turn just then? I induced the otherwise stall by using the steerable nose gear. Oh, that sounded really cool. Did you hear it?
Yes. Did you hear a timer?
Oh, it went off.
Okay, just checking.
My do-gooder camera crew here doesn't want me to crash the beautiful plane again. I mean, we already named part of our flying field after it. It's not like we need to earn it again. Okay, let's try full elevator. Boom, there it is. Really cool. Okay, full speed pass down the runway. Right next to the tempting, the Eagle killing zone, the F-15 Eagle, just to be clear, folks. Just to be clear, all you animal lovers out there. Suppose we should probably do a touchdown.
Maybe.
What do you think?
Probably.
I cannot, in good conscience, call that a landing.
I knew it.
even though it would have been fine. Trying to get there in a hurry. I'm in a hurry to land. The pilot needs to go to the bathroom. Okay, so I did notice that the crosswind is definitely not doing us any favors right now. Being that there's no rudder, there's only a steerable nose gear, which is very incidental in suggestion. That was pretty good.
That was much better.
That was a nice scale landing.
Trying to avoid the mud.
So throttle cut's on. Let's look back here in the shade.
Yes.
Because it's gonna be washed out. We're 2 minutes 21 right now. I'll be mindful of the time, trying to make this fast. Okay, so here we go. Oh, is this the one that doesn't have the voltage? Do you have the voltage, the XBC?
I do.
Let's try it with the XBC battery checker, the XBC 100. Which, by the way, if you guys don't have the XBC battery checker, it is an awesome tool.
It is.
It works super, super, super nice. Don't look too close at the nose. It's
I'm blocking it with it.
Thank you.
We'll look at the tail of the plane.
So this is where we're riding the battery, just a little bit past where the CG recommendation was. We do the CG recommendation, get it all tested, and then we mark it for the known pack we're going to be flying. Oh boy, this one is hard to undo. Goodness gracious. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and plug this in here. Doubt you're going to be able to see it with the exposure.
Yeah, probably not. We'll trust you.
9%.
Whew.
Okay, so we were, what, 216?
Yeah, 216, 221, something like that.
216 passed. Okay, so that being, oh wow, the 30C is pretty warm.
Is it? Yeah.
But look, zero puffage.
Yep.
That thing is rock solid. Okay, so we're gonna try this next with a 100C pack. Evidently no soup for you. We're still charging the 100C. So we're gonna put in the 50C today for the second flight on our second thoughts video for the F-15. So far, really, really impressed with this plane. It's been really good. Okay, I'm gonna show you how I load the battery. I plug it in like this, get everything initiated, let it sit still. Once it's done with the second AS3X dance, which indicates that safe has been activated, safe select, then I go ahead and run the battery in and I just ram it. Just ram it until I'm happy, like this. See, it's passed. Because I like that flare. It does help a lot with the elevator authority, which is a little bit lacking on this plane. Just to show you how easy it'd be to fix that. See, I've broken these. All you'd have to do is basically take this, undo it, and put it in the middle hole. So why don't we try that now? Okay, just because we like to do things on the fly, pun intended. Stop complaining, servo. Stop it. Okay, see, we're in the outside hole. We're going to go to the middle hole, which is, well, not the inside hole, Brian. Now remember, just because you have more deflection on your elevator does not necessarily mean that your servos are designed to handle it. Boy, that didn't like change it, the geometry hardly at all. It still looks flat. That's crazy. That's also good. Okay, so I'm gonna pop this one off also. And since I don't want it to go in a circle every time I give it elevator, I'm gonna go ahead and put this in the same hole, which is the second hole down. Okay. Now, for whatever reason, those things line up nicely. So we'll probably just go ahead and go with trim because it actually did fly pretty good before. The other thing too is on a plane like this, adding inboard flaps would be super fun. It would be really, really easy, and it would probably make this thing just a whole different plane. But I'm not sure yet. Let's see if the elevator helps. Okay, so one other thing I'm gonna do real quick right away. Dual rates and expo, switch to elevator. We're gonna go up 10. You're blocking the sun, so try not to move too much.
Oh, okay.
40, okay, and then this top setting we'll just leave. Okay, so I only changed the elevator axis, so that's all I'm messing with, okay? Also, the turning radius on this thing is pretty horrific, so if you want ground handling to get you down the runway, it's fine for that, but it's not real great for taxiing, because you see I'm barely gonna make this turn, and so I'm gonna get right into it, okay? You ready?
Yep.
Whoa. Feels good still. Okay, remember this is a 50C. It should be more ballsy. Okay, a little bit of nose up tendency, which means we'll have to trim down just a hair. About 5 clicks of trim, I think we got it. We're gonna come downhill and do some level flight for the AS3X reasons. Nope, needs a little bit more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A little bit of throttle. Oh yeah, I think we're good now. I think we might have her. You know, did you notice the nose drop when I did that?
I didn't, but they might have.
I did. Okay, full elevator, not quite yet. There's full elevator. Yeah, that's better. We can really get her turned around quicker now. And then there we go. Sorry, son. I know. Let's try some slow flight ops now that we have that additional authority on the elevator. I want to see if I can get it to alpha a little bit better. I'm out of the throttle altogether, folks. Okay, so here we go. So we're going to try a little alpha. So just getting into a stall and then throttle. There's your alpha. That's pretty stinking good, and then it comes out of it. That's pretty awesome. Too bad I don't have a rudder to get out of the trouble that I caused for myself. Because the rudder would really help in that condition. Because it'd give you another access to control when you're basically in a stall. Okay, we're gonna come under the power lines here, right over that crash line, and then turn sharp. The extra elevator's nice. I like it. Feels good. I could probably do one more hold down, actually.
Well, I mean,
depends.
Get crazy here.
You see what I'm talking about? If I would have been in the outside hole, I would have never been able to complete that maneuver. And that's really not that tedious of a maneuver. And it's funny because we're coming right off of the two planes. You guys probably won't know what we were just filming because of the nature of the way we release videos. But we just did the Focke-Wulf and we just did the P-51 third thoughts or whatever you want to call it. And those things both have like crazy elevators to give you tons of authority. You see how I almost turned in place there? Oh, you know what I didn't do? Didn't clear my timer.
I was wondering about that.
It's all right, I'm having a really good time, so I'm good with it. That is so cool that it sounds. Guys, this little F-15 is a real fun plane. It's a blast to fly. It flies good. It's pretty forgiving. The elevator issue is such an easy one to fix, and it is not dead calm, by the way. And I can't say that the paint leaves a lot to be desired. It's pretty good too. It's simple. I know there's another competitive option right now that has a little bit cooler livery, if you ask me, but I just love the way this thing flies. Also, I think that's a little bit bigger plane. It might be a twin. Vampire killing zone, tempted. You know, if I kill the eagle in the vampire zone,
is that like?
It's like an extra award for me.
The danger.
So folks, some of you guys have asked questions about, you know, just about the general flying principles and how to do stuff. And can you do a video where, you know, you like have a camera that's pointed at your thumbs so we can see what you're doing when you do it? The answer to that question is at the moment, no. Someday we will. I'm not opposed to doing the video, neither is the camera crew. It's just we don't have the equipment to do it at this point. We could probably make it happen if we really cared, but.
I don't think I could do both of those things at the same time.
Well, I mean, I would just probably have it on some sort of like a, what's that, harmonica holder?
Oh. That would be super cute.
I wouldn't look, I was just going to say, I would look like a nerd at all. I mean, I'm not a nerd, obviously.
Right. I mean, right.
You mean I am?
You are.
Oh, shoot. It's all right.
It's okay.
Girls, if you're watching this at home and you're debating between a nerd and another option, oh, that's the power. Okay, out of the throttle, This is a one-shot kind of deal right here.
Okay.
That's all I get. Okay, so folks, that's what you call running the battery down. So we're gonna pause it and we'll show you the voltages.
Okay.
Okay, so the reason that I kind of did that really bad landing was, firstly, I don't want to claim that that was a skill issue. That was because I wanted to guarantee it didn't end up in that mess, because that stuff is really bad. We moved some hay in the middle of winter and I didn't realize that it was going to basically destroy my yard there. So in a couple more weeks, hopefully it's better. Anyway, without further ado, let's see how this battery fared. That was a pretty good lengthy flight time. I don't know where we started and I don't know where we ended, but I'm sure it wasn't 10 minutes.
I don't.
Or 13 or whatever that was.
I don't remember what we were on film. Sorry, I'm trying not to block you.
Oh, you can shadow it?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not. Well, would you look at that?
Oh.
5%, whatever.
You could have totally gone around. Not.
No, it was dead.
I know.
It was totally dead. Yeah, and it's saying 3.2 volts. So yeah, I would say that's totally dead, and it's warm. Okay, so the reason we didn't do the 100C is because it was charging, and so hopefully it's done, and we're gonna do one more because I'm enjoying this. And to be honest with you, what I'd like to do, camera crew, is I would like to go ahead and go to the inside hole, if you'll let me.
Well, we'll talk about it off camera.
Okay, so we've got another 1% on the battery, so we're just gonna do this inside. Couple things to think about too is if you're planning on flying this thing with the landing gear, if you want to increase this size of surface area on this, you can actually make a pretty good rudder out of this, out of clear plastic. And that would be a really cool thing to do. So now, all you have to do to get this done is really easy. Just undo this, the same exact thing we just did before. Man, there's a lot of manned aircraft flights today.
Yeah, there is.
It's just really beautiful. It's early spring.
It's the nicest day all year.
Actually, it is from 2021. Yep. Okay. Okay, so that's going to give us a lot more deflection. And just because you have more deflection does not necessarily induce the pitch that you expect it will. So just keep that in mind too. Do we have any plastic bottles that we could make a fin out of this with? For fun, just to show people.
Do you want to check real quick?
Yeah, we will. Okay, so we did this on camera. I increased the expo on the elevator again. So I increased the expo to 35 on the middle setting and then 45 on the top setting now. I think it was like 30 and 40. So that should be fine. That'll help offset some of the extremeness with this all the way on the inside hole. Also, I'm gonna take this. This was a lid from a cookie thing that we got at Sam's. Okay. So here goes nothing. So we're just gonna cut this plastic. I don't know for sure what shape I wanna make it yet. I'm just using literal garbage. And I wanna try to make it as big as necessary to do the job, but not so big that it's just obnoxious. But the cool thing about this is just how stinking easy it is. I'm trying to make it kind of like a teardrop shape. And if you had a piece of plastic that had less deep grooves in it, you could keep those grooves and that would give you some rigidity and strength. We've got this. Of course, you won't be able to see it at all. And that's a little bit too big. So we'll just kind of do this. And then we're going to do that. See this? There's those two set screws too. I wonder if we could attach it that way. So we're gonna do this. A little bit too big actually. It might be too much rudder. Okay, so you can kind of see that. So there's two options that I see to attach this, and that might actually still yet be too big. I think the best way to do it would be to have it mounted right here so that it only pivots on the back. If you have it up here, then it would still work. And I'm trying to think this side might be easier to mount. I think that tolerance is a little bit too tight. I'm just gonna bring it a little bit shorter. And then I'm just gonna make that shape a little bit more what I was going for. And you won't ever see it. You won't even hardly know it's there. I wonder if I could just slam it between the spring. Like that.
That's kind of what I was wondering.
Yeah, because it's actually pretty strong.
Yeah.
So then, okay, so for practical purposes, you can see that went in there okay, and there's a little bit of grease on there. That's kind of weird. Okay, so now I'm gonna bend this just to give it some strength so it keeps it rigid. Okay, and I hope I bent that the right direction. And then that's just gonna keep this somewhat strong. It's a lot stronger than no bend. And then I'm just gonna re-slide this in, and then when we're done sliding it in there, we can go ahead and poke one hole and do one zip tie maybe. Okay. So it's, I mean, it's about as simple as it gets. So we've got a drill here. Let's see how this works. Our zip ties are real small. Okay, so that hole should work. And you'll see that I've, you know, really laid this out and done lots of engineering on it. And planned it out for weeks in advance. Okay. And so, as you know, with the zip tie, the head of the zip tie is going to be on one side or the other. So we'll do it like this. Okay, so let's try to slide that through. And I'll just hold that until it's tight. Tight like a tiger. And then that'll just prevent it from coming out. Okay.
Side cutters?
Yeah, we can use side cutters. You could probably cut that with scissors if you don't have side cutters. But in this case, we're going to use the side cutters so I can pull it a little bit tighter. So grab on and then twist it. Okay, so we're good there. That's nice and straight actually. Okay, so I'm happy with that. And that took us, what, 5 minutes?
Probably not even.
And if that wants to pivot, you could do one more zip tie right here. You could do one more hole there and a zip tie here. That might keep this from lifting, you know. Actually strengthen the landing gear by one piece of plastic. And we brought up the hot glue gun thinking we're going to need it, but we really just honestly don't. I'm actually excited to see how this improves the flight characteristics because it's really fun when you can add something so simple. And the cool thing is, suppose you're flying this and you're doing belly landings and you want to add rudder. I mean, you've already got a rudder on this thing, so you can just add rudders, you know, in the rudder. But my guess is when you add rudders, it's just going to roll this plane and it's going to very, very lightly yaw the plane. So a couple things to consider, and our battery is getting done. 100%. This is a 4S 2200 100C. Obviously, it's going to be a little bit heavier. I'm surprised there was so much grease on that spring. Must have been a manufacturing thing. Or, you know what I bet it was?
What?
I bet it was dirt from when I crashed into the tree on our maiden. Because there could be, on a spring, they could have oil because they get extremely hot and they don't want to damage the equipment when they're folding them. But yeah, you can't see that at all.
No, you can't. If it catches the sun, that's about it. But
yeah, there might be a small reflection. Okay, so let's try this and see how this goes. Okay, same as before, I'm going to go ahead and lay this down on the top of the plane, plug it in and just let it initiate. Okay, so I'm just looking at my trims. I don't have any on aileron, but I'm just looking at this, camera crew. Check this out. Is it just in my head, or is that up a little bit, or is that just in my head? Probably just in my head. I would say it's subtle enough we're not going to be able to see the difference. So we'll just adjust for it in the air. And if there was a plane that was forgiving on trim, so far this one's been it. There is sort of a spot that you can't get past in here. There you go. Now it's in. Now it's past and it holds it nice and tight. I have not stripped off the Velcro backing at all because you don't need the Velcro at all on this plane. It just stays.
Yep.
So without further ado, let's go out and see how this does. So we're all set and ready to go, but I want to just turn up the expo on the rudder. Oh, it's already at 20. We'll do 25 just to be safe, okay? So now we should have yaw authority. All of a sudden it seems calm, which is really weird. Throttle cuts off, timer's cleared. Here goes nothing. Oh yeah, the first time I've rolled when I wanted to. So far, so good. Okay, let's try the rudder only here. There's rudder, there's rudder. Pushing the nose over. Not super effective, but it's definitely there. I wanted to tempt that bird.
Is it an actual eagle? Nope.
No, it's a hawk.
The hawk, yeah.
A hawk that would still eat this plane in one bite. Boy, this thing's flying great.
Yeah.
See, little bit of rudder just to nudge the nose over. No adverse performance effects yet. Nice flat flying plane. With the wind on that pass, guys, it's just coming down pretty strong all of a sudden. Okay, we're gonna come back under the power lines at speed. Probably 70% throttle here. We'll just keep it kind of conservative somewhat. Just a little bit of rudder to kick that nose down. You see I'm pointing it down? Let's point it up just so you can prove it's working. You see that? That would not happen without a rudder, folks. And then right up. Yes, right up. That's full elevator deployment, or not full elevator deployment. Here's full elevator. Look at that. So much better now. Remember how I said the only thing lacking on this was the elevator? I feel like we've got that worked out pretty good. A little bit more trim. Whoa. Man, those birds are up there.
Big hawks.
Yeah, they are. They might be eagles.
No, because they're white on the bottom.
Oh, okay. Are you an aficionado of eagles and birds?
I mean, I've seen them before.
Oh, true. Me too. The killing zone. He's going to get nervous. Here goes. Full up elevator. Yes. Hard turn, hard turn. Loving it, loving it. It was good before, but it's like even better now.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
It glides forever though, I can definitely say that. Okay, so this is the 100C pack. I don't feel like it's any better or worse. Do you have thoughts on that? Whoa, that was weird. Man, I think I got pushed by the wind big time there.
Yeah, I bet.
Well, maybe it is a little bit closer to unlimited vertical. Safe? Do we have safe on this plane? Oh, there's safe.
Yeah.
It's on my gear channel. Sorry, folks. I flipped the wrong switch. Let's show the people some safe. Okay, 50% throttle. Just kind of going along. Pulling it, pulling it, pulling it. Good bank angles. You can actually fly the thing with safe, which is nice. Sometimes safe is a little bit overpowering to the flight performance of the plane. Let's try a landing with safe, just for fun. Okay, we're basically about 15% throttle. Just need to make sure we don't engage our power lines. Okay, out of the throttle mostly. Over the head. Okay, out of safe now. As you can see, we did not land. That was pretty hilarious.
You are over your timer, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
by like 2 minutes,
That's what I thought.
3 minutes. Something like that. It's only a 3-minute timer.
Just checking.
Okay. You want to go closer over to the edge there? Okay, perfect. There's definitely some turbulence coming off of those trees.
Mm-hmm.
See what I'm trying to do?
Kill your plane?
Yes. That's not what I'm trying to do, but that does look like what I'm doing. Okay, out of the throttle. 100C pack, give it a chance to relax. Yeah, you can hear it getting weaker. That would be a dead battery again. Okay, guess I'm landing this time. What do you think, camera crew? Can I do it?
Yeah.
Get out of the mud. Thank you. Hey, that rudder saved my tail on that one.
It did.
So, what have we learned? Don't push the battery beyond its limits. I'm 3 minutes and 3. So that's on top of 3, so that would be a 6-minute flight time at pushing it pretty hard levels. I'm a little bit disappointed it didn't go longer, to be honest, but can I be disappointed with 100% of what was required and then another 100% almost? Yes.
You say, what have we learned? Like you learned something.
I didn't learn anything. Although I can say that the rudder was somewhat effective. It wasn't quite as effective as I thought it might be, but it's pretty cool because you can kind of nudge that nose the direction you want, which is really nice. Again, it's not overwhelming. It's not like a huge output. This thing doesn't have a ton of rudder authority on the ground, like I was saying with the ground handling. I'm curious if it'll taxi on the grass with a dead battery almost.
Well, it's actually doing better than I thought it was going to.
A lot better.
And that is
yeah.
not good grass over there. Well, you almost didn't have to go get it.
Let's walk to it. So, a couple thoughts on this plane. One, if it were easier to slow down, you could come in for a steeper approach. And that's kind of like, you know, that's just the way it is here. It's not necessarily the way it is everywhere. But it's definitely a good flying plane. It's very fun. And I don't know if you guys can tell, but it's quite windy here. There's a lot of wind right here. Okay? The rudder thing worked reasonably well. You know, and that might be part of our problem is we just don't get as much to the one side as we do to the other. See how it's kind of pointed off to the side like that? And that could be remedied by just kind of bending it where you want, just centering it. Then you get a little bit more even, just, oh wow, look at that.
Oh.
So the landing gear were a little bit annoyed with me on that one. Very surprisingly enough, they just snap right back down. It shouldn't, but it does. And to be honest, the landing gear didn't break. It's just this plastic piece, so you could actually replace both of those, and it would be fine. Then also, it's got an accessible opening here to get down to the EDF. And I would say, otherwise, the repairs that we did from the original flight have really worked out well. This thing is a really fun plane. It's definitely, I would definitely not recommend this as a first plane. It's too hard for a first plane. If you fly this and you're successful as a first plane, then you are a natural. You might as well just not worry about the first plane step because you really have skipped it totally. So if you have safe does not make the plane easy to fly. It makes it easier to not crash, okay? Safe does compromise some of your authority and how fast you can change the direction and heading of the plane. It also changes the size of the minimum flight pattern that you can make. So when you have a faster plane, you cover a lot more ground. So you just need to be prepared for that. This plane, and by the way, we got quite a bit of wind, so maybe we should go back over here. This plane would also be a lot easier if there were flaps because you could slow down, which is funny because, you know, generally speaking, flaps complicate the plane a little bit in that it adds some weight and there's one added layer of complexity in terms of controlling the plane. But I've always felt that flaps actually make a plane easier to fly it's a net easier experience because you can slow the plane down when you need to. That being said, it's also easier on the landing gear. It's also easier to roll because it makes it a little bit more pitch sensitive typically. And so there's a lot of different things that flaps improve. This plane is great though. If you're remotely experienced, if you've flown the Habu as a beginner and you've done well with that, this would not be a bad second EDF at all. It'd be a good second EDF, but it's quite a bit faster and you need to remember that. Also, if you're doing grass ops, yes, it will work, but you may almost be better off to just pull the landing gear off. Okay, because it's 2 set screws. Of course, you're going to lose your awesome new rudder. And then, of course, 2 regular Phillips screws, which is a little bit annoying because these are, I think they were 1 millimeter. They might have been 1.2 millimeter. But either way, it's in the build video if you're curious. And so you do need 2 tools to do that, to be able to pull those and these off, which is kind of a miss if you ask me. Beyond that, really like the plane. Super fun, very economical.
It's a great size too.
It's a great
if you're
size.
Looking for space.
Very easy to transport. You could put this in the front seat of your car. You might even, without the gear, you could put it on the dash of your car. But I would not store it there at the flight field because it might bake.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts?
It's a fun plane to watch too.
Very fun, very inexpensive, easy to transport. Lots of fun things you can do to it without too much effort. I mean, what more can you ask for? This is the everyday flyer that you get when you're new at piloting RC aircraft. This is an everyday flyer because you'll fly the wheels off of it, and you'll literally fly this until it's broken into a million pieces and you're sick of fixing it. And that's the beauty of some of these planes. When you get into the more complex, more robust, more features, more weight, more expensive packs that still have a short 3.5 or 2 minute flight time, there's something to be said for just having a plane that does what it does well. And this is one of them. So definitely come back for more. Check the links in the description below if you want to help support our channel. You can buy this plane. If you're buying it anyway, you might as well help support us. We'd really appreciate it. Also, the NX6 has been great. We do have an NX8 to unbox. We'll be doing that shortly. And, actually in the next few videos, we might be using it. But I can tell you this with experience. The NX6, we're up to like 18 or 17 planes, and we haven't had a plane we can't do what we need to do on the plane yet. There's been a few features on some of the more complicated ones where I would have liked to have an additional dial so that I could adjust my gains in flight on the Maiden. But to be perfectly honest with you, you don't really need that. It's just kind of a nice feature. So that being said, the NX8 is going to be very helpful when you've got a 3D plane like the Ultimate where you have a reverse thrust. So that'd be one of the few planes that we currently have in our fleet that we can't do with the NX6 and have full feature. That being said, you can technically still, I think you can still do it on this, but I don't know if you need channel 8. The later avian receivers are going to allow you to make assignments in the lower channel slots for reverse thrust, I've been told. Don't hold me to that because I'm not the engineers at Horizon by any stretch. I'm just a dude like you or chick or whatever. So this is awesome. I really like it. Get one. Come back for more.